Hurry right away, no delay, go today. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad. Tell your sweetheart not to pine, to be proud her boys in line. Over there, over there, send the word over there. The Yanks are
I offer to the Karens the following resolution during these trying times of war. Resolved that the Kentucky Equal Rights Association recommend to all clubs so far as possible that they include in their programs the study of vital international problems and to ally themselves, whether as individuals or as clubs, with the Women's Peace Party and thus definitely promote the organized effort of American women to do their part during this unprecedented crisis. The National Association of Colored Women's Clubs would like for you to take note of an article in the NAACP's magazine, The Crisis. The article is entitled, War Work of Colored Women. This week, Ms. Alice Dunbar Nelson of the Women's Committee, Council of National Defense, is leaving Washington, D.C. for the states to make a preliminary survey of the war work which is being done among colored women by the various state divisions, and to assist them in perfecting any organization they may have in hand. Let us pray for the safe travels of Miss Alice Dunbar Nelson as she does the work of the Lord. Let us also continue praying for our sons, brothers, husbands, and friends, as they were never meant to fight in a war so far from home.
Georgia Moore was a leader in our movement.
Susan Look Avery was a giant in our community.
Now we are left here without her.
Now we are left here without her. Left to figure out some way to carry on.
We knew this day would come.
We knew this day would come.
Although she is a force to be reckoned with.
Was a force to be reckoned with. Even at 97 years old.
She lived a life worth living. 50 years well lived.
May we all live such a life.
And leaving such a legacy.
She died at her home in Wyoming, New York, near Rochester.
She died in her home, 1325 West Madison Street, November 7th, 1915. She was the victim of heart disease.
She fought for the emancipation of the slaves and was a lifelong suffragist, though it wasn't until the death of her husband that she threw herself into full-time suffrage work. Her commitment to the work was unparalleled.
Her commitment to her church and the children of this community are unparalleled.
Were unparalleled.
Well, I don't see anyone paralleling it yet. Are unparalleled.
For more than 30 years, she has inspired a generation of future teachers and administrators. Her involvement with both the Louisville Colored Teachers Institution and State Colored Teachers Association proves this.
The first meetings of the Louisville Equal Rights Association were held at her home.
All the time we dashed around the corner from our offices, harried and worried.
And not wanting to attend yet another meeting.
But the kettle was always on, and the fire was always burning.
She worked at the Western Colored School and the Colored Special School.
She fought against lynching and was a suffragist. She used her words to give dynamic public speeches and to recite her poetry.
Her tireless and selfless acts of love
will go on shaping this country.
She has been a steadfast, prim, and wise presence in our midst. She helped to ignite the fight for suffrage in our city, and her work is not over.
Our work is not over.
Our dear friend, Susan,
Georgia,
lived long enough to cast a vote in school board elections.
Lived long enough to cast a vote in Baptist Women's Convention elections. But she did not live long enough to see universal suffrage become the law of this land. It will become the law of this land.
It will become the law of this land.
We must continue working.
We must continue fighting.
We must continue living.
May we strive to act as she would have done, and to honor her as best we can in continuing the work that is left to do.
Even as we acknowledge that the work will be infinitely harder to complete.
Now that Georgia
Susan is
no longer with us.
As America prepared to enter the European conflict, Louisville, Kentucky was selected for the site of a new facility needed for the war effort. Built in just 90 days in 1917, Camp Taylor would become the largest Army training camp in the country and the epicenter of the Spanish flu in Kentucky. The camp reported its first case in the fall of 1918. Over 1,500 soldiers would die. Despite efforts to quarantine camp residents from the local population, Spanish flu spread to the rest of Louisville. Amidst emergency restrictions banning gatherings and shuttering businesses, overwhelmed public health officials and medical workers labored tirelessly to treat the ill in field hospitals as the numbers grew day by day.
I was going to meet you at the office.
I know. I'm sorry. I had to come home.
Are you feeling feverish, short of breath?
No. No, dear, it's not bad. It's the heights. Oh.
All of them?
Mrs. Heitzman, her sister, her mother, all 5 of the children, even the baby. I sent them home to quarantine.
Oh, Anna. It had been 3 weeks. I had hoped.
know. Billy was fine when he came home from training. But his best buddy, you know him, John Goss, his sweetheart wanted to bring him a care package. But Camp Taylor isn't very keen on letting in unnecessary civilians, so Billy brought it. And that was enough.
That was enough.
We're too old for this, Julia.
Are we? Maybe this flu is the last hurdle before we turn the practice over.
Maybe. 35 years of practice. And still doctors who look like us, unheard of. Doctors who listen to women, rare. Healthcare for the indigent, orphans, always falling to women, with no power to enact any kind of real change.
It's a marathon, Anna. One more hurdle.
Maybe. When this flu ends and we retire, I know you'll keep right on running.
Oh, I will keep on running until I'm dead if it means we get the franchise. I really thought it was going to pass the Senate.
2 votes.
2 votes. Now back in the trenches.
Surely it will pass in our lifetime. You keep running out of passion.
And you keep running, even if it's out of spite.
I am stubborn and tired.
Go home. Rest. Oh dear, you did not have your mask like that on the street car, did you?
No, don't worry. I just got so hot I couldn't stand it a second longer.
Well, at least I get to see your smile. Go home. Lay down. I'll see all my patients, and then I'll bring us something light for dinner.
We must have walked for 6 hours. Just because we can't be in school teaching doesn't mean our pupils can't be learning. Now, these supplies should last them the next few days, and tonight we work on sheets. Hopefully, Molly has them all wrong. Not another plan of yours. I am so tired, Georgia. Let it out, girl. Let it out. Then come help me fold these sheets. I just thought that with the war coming to an end, finally be able to rest. But then this influenza. I know. Our teaching jobs shut down. Women's suffrage shut down by 2 votes. 2 sad little votes that I thought we had. All I want to do is be able to go to church, Georgia. Now, you know we don't need any church building to pray. I know. We will get through this with God's help. Now stop feeling sorry for yourself and come help do good for some other folks. What are these for anyway? Sister Mary from church is down at Camp Taylor helping the colored soldiers. She sent a telegram to the church saying that they needed linens. Which Sister Mary? Alice! Which Sister Mary? Sister Mary Merge. Only the first colored nurse in all of Kentucky. After we get her these linens, we will get the Association of Colored Women to do a collection. They need things like towels, preserves, canned goods, foods of nutrients.
Georgia?
What's wrong with that?
It's just so much. The paper also said not to gather in large groups. And while it is good to help, don't you think you might slow down one moment? We don't really know when this is going to end.
Yes, so we should work now while a difference can be made. Besides, I don't like seeing you moping like this. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. Georgia, I'll help you. Just promise me one thing. Promise me that you'll take one day, one single day of rest. Even God rested on the seventh day. We don't have that kind of time. We have all the time. No church, no work, no school, no meetings. Just take one day, Georgia. Can it be a planning day?